origin story. Oh yeah, Alan Ng, watching tropical fire. Movie and TV show reviews what you need. Film preps on fire, we're planting the seeds. Film prep, we keep it real. Dive into the stories, you know the deal. Turn the phone, it's the place to be. Movie lovers gather round. 1, 2, 3. From blockbusters to indie gold. Oh yeah, Chris and Alan break the mold. Pop your corn, turn down the lights. Get ready to groove through movie nights. Film prep, we keep it real. Dive into the stories, you know the
Welcome,
deal.
everyone. Happy Wednesday. That's right. It's time for Hollywood on the Rocks. Let's go. Alan Ng is here. We're going to talk Superman, Marvel, what's up? Plus, trailer reactions to movies you would not know about if you did not watch this channel. Plus, an interview with the filmmaker behind the movie Call of the Void. Director James B. Cox will be here at the end of the show to tell us about his indie movie, plus your comments and questions. And of course, Alan Ng, and he has promised to talk about tariffs. So let's go. Let's start the show. Yeah. Let's go old school.
Alan!
Oh, hey.
You're here.
Hey, so you have your top 10 movie already, your first one of the year.
I have one.
I have my one top 10 movie of the year.
Well, I have one movie I would put in a top list of the year, where it ranks depends on other movies.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So, oh wait, is my mic okay, folks?
Yeah, it's just when you move away from
when
it.
I move away from it, like if I'm here,
like
and I'm there, I should pay attention to what I'm doing. I should know this by now. Someone asked me, I went to a screening of The Accountant 2 last night, which was amazing. The director did a Q&A, a great Q&A. The Q&A is on for members only. If you're a member, Q&A from Accountant 2 and a Q&A from Sinners that Alan was at last night. We got went to early screenings of both. Accountant 2 is probably one of the best action movies this year. I mean, John Bernthal and Ben Affleck at their best in this. I mean, it took 9 years to get the sequel, but it really delivers. I'll do an extensive review for the release.
Yeah. And then mine was Sinners. That's in my top movie.
Is it a good horror film?
It is. Okay, so I don't like horror films. I was certainly scared. It deals with more of the lore. I don't know if I'm supposed to. The review embargo is tomorrow.
No spoilers. No spoilers.
Yeah, I could actually review it on Friday, but yeah, it's a good horror film in terms of the type of movie it is, the subject matter. It takes place in Jim Crow South, but that's really not. There's elements of, it's not woke. Let's put it that way.
Right.
And Ryan Coogler, he should never make another Marvel movie for the rest of his life because he's above it. He does not need to make a Marvel movie.
Look, I've always thought he's a great filmmaker. Fruitvale Station and Creed.
Yeah.
So, I mean, look, but Marvel tends to do something. I think they become more controlling later in Marvel. So, but early on, we're giving these indie filmmakers chances.
Yeah.
So we shall see.
Well, Ryan Coogler didn't need to. I mean, Black Panther 2. I don't think Namor was his creation. I think it was foisted upon him.
I think a lot of the creative choices about that movie were made above his pay grade.
Yeah.
And he is really now just a hired gun to make a Marvel movie. I mean, he may make another Marvel movie, but he needs to exert his power as a filmmaker. I was intrigued by the trailer, which tells me nothing. I like the era it was made, kind of jazz and what is it, the 20s, 30s around there.
It's more blues. It's blues.
Blues.
It's the 30s.
30s.
And yeah, Haley Steinfeld.
Yeah, but there's a shot of Michael B. Jordan where he's shaking and he looks terrified. And I'm like, and they don't tell you anything.
Yeah.
And I'm all in.
Yeah.
I'm all in. So
Yeah.
I can't wait. No, dude, I can't wait. All right. Hey, let's see who's here. We got Andrew Cram gifted 5 Film Threat memberships. That's 5 people that can check out our members only videos. Thank you, Andrew. You're such a supporter of the channel. Alan, go for it.
If Batman had a parrot, says hail to the hailers of those being hailed. Geek True 64. I like the first Accountant, but not enough to care about a sequel 9 years later.
It's very different story. It involves human trafficking, child trafficking. Yeah. So there you go. And now we're demonetized for saying those words.
Okay. And then Rudy for 5. Seeing you at Yard House Monday, Chris. Cool meeting you. Monday's Screen Unseen was Drop. I thought it was a cool, suspenseful movie. I liked it.
Hey, thank you for saying hi, Rudy. I think you had just watched Versus. It came up to me. I was at the bar with may have been a lovely woman. I'm not disclosing, but you were very polite and we had a quick conversation. But AMC Burbank 16 is the theater. I'm gonna be there like 3 times this week, so I'm going back tonight to see Warfare. It's an early access screening, and I'll be there tomorrow. I will see Drop, but I've heard good things about Drop. I hear it's dumb fun. And a good thriller. It's PG-13. So I am seeing it Thursday. Thank you so much, Rudy. Appreciate you. And
I'll be at the Yorba Linda Regal watching King of Kings on Thursday.
Wait, by yourself, isn't that right?
No, with my family.
Okay.
I'm dragging the wife and kid to see King of Kings.
Cool. And Lord Thoth says,
like, share, subscribe, hit that bell for notifications, sign up as a member, join us on X, Discord, Rumble, and Instagram. Buy our merch, shop.filmthreat.com. I haven't been on Discord in a while, but but still Chris has been off it longer than me.
Well, true. You beat me in that, but Atomic Lori will answer all your questions on Discord. She has just now learned this fact. I can tell by the look on her face. She's smiling. And get this shirt that I'm wearing. It could be a Superman inspired shirt, which with our it's our superhero style collection. Lots of superhero inspired shirts, including you got here the Make Marvel Mail Again. Yes, based on the infamous tweet that almost got me canceled.
I lost you a lot of friends.
It lost me friends. These 4 words. Make Marvel Mail Again. What do? I monetize my cancellation. And then you can buy the shirt in various colors. I like the True Royal. Why is it turning blue here? Wait, small. Let's go True Royal. There it is.
Yeah,
that's the style there.
That's the color you want.
Style. It's not available in extra small, I guess. But pick up that shirt among others. And or pick up something else. It's great. So Atomic Lori she's on fire with the designs. I'm beside myself. It's fantastic. So thank you so much. Thank you, Lord Thoth, for always being here. Appreciate you. All right. We have Superman news we will get to about midway in the show because we've got a ton of news to talk about. Starting with some trailer reactions for movies. You know, I do pride myself. If you watch our live streams, watch things that Alan and I do, we cover the big stuff. Of course, Thunderbolts, your Snow Whites. We cover it. But also we cover movies you would not have known about if you did not watch this channel. This is a documentary called I Know Catherine, The Log Lady. The Log Lady, of course, was a recurring character on Twin Peaks in the 90s. David Lynch created this character. And I mean, I love Twin Peaks and Twin Peaks fandom. There are conventions, There's so much fandom around Twin Peaks, and I just want to let you know that this movie's coming out. The premiere is next week. I hope I get premiere tickets to go to the premiere at the Egyptian Theater in Hollywood. But here is a quick look at the 90-second trailer for the film, which features, of course, the man, the legend, David Lynch, recently passed away. So check this out.
One of my dearest, closest friends is Catherine Coulson, for sure.
Hi, this is Catherine Coulson, Coulson. I'm on hospice. I probably don't have a whole lot longer.
In 1990, Catherine Coulson became an international cult icon as the Log Lady in the groundbreaking television series Twin Peaks.
2014, the big news, Mark Frost and David Lynch were going to return.
Catherine was hiding the fact that she was so sick.
It was stage 4. Hospice said, "What's your heart's desire?" She said she wanted to finish her work on Twin Peaks.
We were up to that point where she was supposed to be working and coming up to work.
The producer was trying to organize medical plane to bring her up.
She was going to fly to Washington. It could have killed her.
How could David put Catherine, who's dying, in a position as an actor portraying this woman
It's time.
who was dying?
The show must go on. It's life. Life goes on. The story has to be told, no matter what. Tell the story.
I know Catherine, the Log Lady.
We'll all see each other again.
I'm sure this movie will be on a VOD at some point. Just want to make you aware of it. And Twin Peaks, I actually just bought a bundle of all the episodes, well, all 2 seasons of Twin Peaks from the 90s off of, I got it on Fandango to rewatch. That show so holds up. I think the more mystery and the more I love that they never explain anything, that some things pay off while others, it doesn't matter. I think the best thing is I loved Agent Dale Cooper, Kyle MacLachlan. I mean, there was such a special relationship between Kyle MacLachlan and David Lynch. They both survived Dune together. I think people look back fondly on it. When I first saw Dune in 1984, I did not like it as a fan of the book. I liked the way it looked. The execution, the 2-hour movie did not deliver, but I've come to like the 3-hour version, and in retrospect, really, really come to appreciate it. And David Lynch just at his prime doing that TV show. So I can't wait to see this documentary. Alan, any fond thoughts about Twin Peaks? Or
that's a show that I just couldn't get into, and mostly because it's a television show. Each episode 1 week, you had to be back. There's no VC. I don't think there were VCRs.
Look, you don't know. It was appointment viewing. It was a phenomenon. My dad at the time was so obsessed with Twin Peaks, he made like a flow chart like on the computer and printed it out and sent it to me of what the relationships were between the characters. But I love the show. I will see the documentary. We'll bring a review to it on the channel. I just want to make you aware because, you know, people do the trailer reactions to Marvel this and blah, blah, that and blah, blah, blah. But we give it something else. So there you go. Makes us different. How about something else here? Another documentary trailer for a movie. If you are a fan of Kingdom Come, that is the comic series, there was a documentary that was financed on, it was a Kickstarter. It was a Kickstarter for this documentary. And let me, if you don't know Kingdom Come, it is in terms of comic book history, it's one of the most important, right up there with Watchmen, right up there with The Dark Knight Returns, something that caused shockwaves. And I think part of the reason that there are movie versions, epic movie versions of superhero stories in the modern age is because of these comics. These comics brought a reality. Watchmen did, even though it's not about Superman per se, it really is. I mean, there were sort of characters that were stand-ins for other DC characters. The Dark Knight Returns made it possible for Tim Burton to make a serious Batman movie, because then everything was pow, blam, blap, whatever. It was the cartoony Batman. And The Dark Knight Returns, Frank Miller's comic, that changed things. Kingdom Come also did that. Let's take a look at the trailer for this, because guess what? It's coming to theaters. And I assume VOD, because everything comes to VOD. So I'm sharing it now. Let's take a look, Alan.
Yes.
I fell a great star from heaven, and I beheld and heard an angel.
I remember when The Dark Knight Returns came out. I remember when Watchmen came out. So of course I remember when Kingdom Come came out.
Kingdom Come is 4 separate issues, 48 pages apiece. It was an all-immersive kind of lifestyle for me.
It blew people away. I mean, this was the most sought-after book there was.
This was something very new, very different.
No one had seen anything like that at that scale before.
It was amazing.
I never thought from anything that people would still be talking about this book 25 years later.
There were voices and lightnings and thunderings. This was my dream.
What makes Alex Ross art stand out from the others is his approach to realism.
You think of a Superman, you're thinking of the Alex Ross Superman.
It almost looked like Renaissance paintings that we were told these were the masters. Alex was taking some of those techniques and applying them to superheroes.
1938, DC released the first issue of Action Comics, the magazine that introduced Superman.
It gives you motion, it gives you expression, all in like a little magazine that you can afford.
Comic art would abstract the human form in a way that was very inspiring to me as a young person, and something I would imitate for my whole life.
Wish fulfillment. This is power fantasy. If I just had the abilities to do these things and make the world a better place, I could do it.
He makes them look like real live superheroes. They look like Olympian gods.
You gotta have the balance of the eyes perfect.
Let me tell you the story of Kingdom Come, page for page, panel for panel.
Was such a huge, epic story.
The DC fans, when he did their favorite characters, and then they came back to save the world one more time, just minds blown.
I see a shot that is, I know, since it was like a pencil layout through final rendering, and then I see it on a bus ad or a poster or a shot setup, I'm going like, oh, totally. You totally see Alex's influence.
The way material folds the shadows, the angst of the character, the history of the character. I mean, he's like, Stellar Adler. He's the master class of how you approach comics. This is a true art form.
It would weigh on us the way it would be perceived, but I always had this sense of like, oh, I'm making a legend right now.
Yeah, Alan, this is you have to pick up that comic. They're collected.
Okay, you're bringing up traumatic memories for me.
Why?
Well, look, in the late 80s, early 90s, if you didn't buy the comic the day it came out, you were never going to get that.
They would sell out. Like Dark Knight Returns. You don't know. The third issue
Death
of
of Superman. Death of Superman.
Yeah, but the third issue of The Dark Knight Returns was delayed for various reasons. It drove people crazy. The first two came out kind of, it was,
it was the setup for the whole story.
But then it got to this delay. People took like a year for the Dark Knight Returns to all come out. But it was, oh my God, it was such a, I don't know. It was just, it changed so many things about how people perceive. I'll tell you this, there would be no Zack Snyderverse without Kingdom Come. You can go to the website Legend of Kingdom Come. You can actually get the movie, but it's playing in theaters. There'll be special screenings of it, but you can actually just go to it. I have not seen this documentary, but the idea that it's coming to theaters, I'm super excited.
Just Alex Ross alone makes me want to see this.
Yeah, so it's playing in Chicago Saturday, May 10th, Saturday, May 17th at the Lake Como Comic Art Festival. So there are screenings, but if you go to the website, you can just get it or find out. But I'm just pumped that this is getting its due. So go to the legendofkingdomcome.com is the website. So there you go. All right. So much to discuss, but let's go to your comments on any of these topics.
Yeah, Wolf Spain for 2. Hello, I'm here to promote Primitive War trailer.
I saw the trailer.
Yeah.
We should probably watch that on Friday. Thanks.
Okay. Mega YouTube 99 for 999. Chris, stop flip-flopping on Superman. You literally said you had tears after the teaser. You sound like a 12-year-old boy who watches TikTok all day when you say you can't handle a 10-minute dialogue scene.
I haven't seen it. And look, if you watch that live stream back, you'll see that I got choked up watching it. And then we watched other Superman trailers, and I was like, oh, it's kind of diminished looking at those. I'm not, and also flip-flopping. You know that intelligent people can evolve their opinions about things. For example, when I saw 2001, when I was fucking 5 years old, I didn't know what the fuck was going on. And then later formed opinions about it. And I think everybody about Superman, the reaction has been mixed across the board. There's no flip-flopping. It looked good initially. We that you remember we got up super early that day, Alan.
Yeah.
We got up super early.
Too early.
So yeah, so thanks for the $10. But yeah, I
you probably should have saved this for when we talk about Superman, but
yeah. Well,
I'm imagining 5-year-old.
Look, you can have. And also, by the way, I report things that I hear. That's not my opinion. Moving on to people that have.
I'm just saying, I can only imagine 5-year-old Chris saying to his dad, "I don't know what the fuck I just saw."
Yeah, exactly. I was 5, and I did say those exact words. But all I'm saying is that it's almost like certain movies are kind of like a litmus test, like a Rorschach test of what you think about something. And, I remember when I first saw Oppenheimer, I really did not like it. I thought it was self-indulgent and bloated. And I went and I saw it 7 times in the theater.
And then you saw Barbie, and then you changed your mind.
Yeah, well, I mean, it depends. I think I like movies that make me think. I don't know that Superman will do that, but I want to like it. I hope that bias doesn't really come in, but I think the more we see and the more we hear about it, I'm concerned.
Well, I mean, marketing has been awful. We need to talk about it when we talk about Superman.
Yeah, if Mega YouTube has something else to say, it's $9.99 is your rant.
Okay.
Rate there.
Okay. Star Wars. Wow, I didn't know about the film Twin Peaks is epic.
That's awesome.
Thomas Pickett for 2. When are you going to talk about the movie G20?
A friend of mine went to the premiere. Yeah, he said it was bad.
Eric Stratton, member for 27 months on Antique Roadshow, season 29, episode 11. The 1942 Superman promotional figure was brought in. Guess how much? $6,000.
Wow, Andrew Cram coming in hot with 50. Thanks for sharing Kingdom Come. I would love to check this out. You can buy the movie now to stream online. So Andrew, that's super generous. I could use that after Mega YouTube pissed me off
and gave you $10.
And gave you $10. I can't be that mad. Can I be that mad? Not really. I'm not that mad.
All right. On from Rumble, Matt G. Hammond. Did you watch the documentary Casa Bonita Mi Amor?
I have not.
It It is about Matt Stone and Trey Parker of South Park buying a Denver Mexican restaurant, Casa Bonita. It is on Paramount Plus. Would recommend.
I know about that movie. I've seen the trailer. I know about that restaurant. I have not seen that, Doc. I can't wait to see it. And I do.
So when we go to Sundance,
we are going to that restaurant. It's like a weird, like, party restaurant. And Matt Stone and Trey Parker were huge fans of it, and was falling on hard times, and they bought it and refurbished it. I can't wait to see it.
And then moved Sundance there.
Yeah.
It's okay to laugh. Kingdom Come single-handed got me into DC. Please adapt to a movie.
Yeah, that would be amazing.
Thornton. If the DC movie, the DC films do well, hopefully Kingdom Come could be the finale.
It could.
ADLS 24. Alex Ross art is truly timeless.
I love
the best part of going to a comic book convention is going to the Alex Ross booth.
At San Diego Comic-Con, I think you and I were at the booth. I think it's in our live stream, just checking out everything in the booth. Like the art is just, he takes your favorite heroes and does the definitive painting of them. He does art for the Fantastic Four that is jaw-dropping. And my fear is when we see the Fantastic Four movie, it will look nothing like the Alex Ross art. Like zero. So
all you have to do is say Pedro Pascal and you're there.
Yeah, we're gonna move around on some of these stories, but something you will not believe. We showed on Monday the Minecraft movie nonsense that was happening in theaters. Well, our friend Damon Packard, a very famous underground experimental indie filmmaker, he pointed out that through the ages, there have been other fandoms that have been as unruly as Minecraft fans. To give you some perspective, Minecraft fans all over the United States over the weekend were laughing at memes, throwing popcorn, filming themselves for TikTok. It was kind of chaos. I think it's fine. I don't really care. In fact, it would have made the movie less boring to me if someone did that in our theater, Alan, when you and I saw it together. But I'm here. He's showing you some perspective. And then here are other fandoms reacting to movies throughout the ages. Here we go real quick. So this is Minecraft. You're going wild. You're going wild. Yeah, it's a little annoying, right? It's annoying. But did you know these videos are everywhere, okay? They're kind of... This is like Rocky Horror Picture Show. It's so out of control. You know what?
Spill their blood.
And this is from
them in the belly.
VFW.
And you put your hand
Porn Wars at a screening of
into a bunch of goo that a moment before was your best friend's face. You know what to do.
They're going crazy. They're going wild, folks. This is not a new trend. Now, they didn't have TikTok.
Crap. The bilious bastards who wrote that stuff about individuality for the Saturday Evening Post don't know anything more about real battle than they do about fornicating.
Someone brought their Super 8 camera into the theater that
Someone captured it. More Minecraft movie nonsense. I'm just saying other fandoms have gone crazy in theaters. Let's see what else we have here. There's other people. This is at The Exorcist, Linda Blair. They're going wild there. It's kind of crazy. I mean, you wouldn't have expected this for it's just nuts. People just going wild. See that kind of 70s look. It's a little nuts. It's a little nuts. All right, I'm just saying he might have used AI to fake all of that. And now that I look at it,
Yeah, when I was when I lived in Torrance and saw was it 3 O'clock High? It's the high school movie. That was the experience I had, where the entire audience was up and on their feet, yelling and screaming at a crowd. It was scary, quite frankly.
yeah. By the way, I knew that was AI. I was fucking with you. For those that are complete morons. So
you are insulting our audience. That's all I'm saying.
I love our audience, except for whatever that guy was from,
and his $10.
Yeah.
I love our audience, period.
I do. I like diversity of opinion. What I don't appreciate is a personal attack. Attack my opinion, sure. Disagree. I like Superman. I'm mixed about it. I'm hopeful. I think I've said I'm cautiously optimistic, which I think is the, pragmatic way to think. I'm not going to pre-dislike the movie. Based on what we've seen, it's surprised us. So anyways,
I don't know. I just think if you're going to criticize us with the super chat, we should just take it in.
Yeah, here we go. Here, go ahead.
Kung Fu Hot Dog for 5 pounds. Hi, Chris. Sorry to bring this up, but after your health scare, what changes did you make? I found out I have high cholesterol and refuse to take statins.
Smart.
Yep.
Well, here's what you can do. I do take some prescription meds, but what I do is I'm up at 7 a.m., between 6 and 7 a.m. every day. I eat protein in the morning. That's eggs only. I rarely salt things. I avoid carbs and sugar. Just cut that out of your diet. Okay. If you do, and I'm not giving medical advice, by the way, this is a plan that has put my cholesterol below normal and brought my blood pressure down. I walk 5 miles in the morning. It's kind of boring. That's why I listen to Geeks and Gamers daily while I'm on my walk. By the time it takes me like an hour and a half to 2 hours to do that, by 9 a.m., I'm done with my exercise. I eat an egg meal. For lunch, I have I take anything that would lower blood pressure or help with cholesterol. You can get your cholesterol to normal by just changing your diet. So eggs for protein. I eat steak at least once or twice a week. Pork chops. I don't like chicken as much, not as much a fan, but literally sugar, carbs, cut them out completely, 100%. You can, after a while, you can reintroduce it to your diet, but try that for 3 months. You'll also lose weight. So it's the walking every day in the morning, and I use that's why I got this watch. It's the watch. I keep track of my steps. Alan kept being annoyed with me while we were at Vegas because I didn't have time to do that. We're still running around at CinemaCon. So I would go out of my way to walk unnecessarily to get the steps in. But I'm back on my normal
I don't know how that
schedule.
worked.
So
it's like you and I were together, and you somehow managed to walk 2,000 steps more than me.
Well, true, but you're taller than I. Your steps are probably, you need to do more
fewer steps.
Exactly. So exercise every day, cut sugar and carbs. That's literally the thing you have to do. I'll recommend a YouTube channel, The Glucose Goddess. She knows more about this than I do. You can reverse, if you're pre-diabetes, you can reverse it. So sorry, let's go back to talking about movies. Kung Fu Hot Dog, report back in like, a month or two. Let me know how you're doing. But you should be able to reverse it. I'll tell you, it's so hard to not eat bread. So what I'll do is I'll order a burger wrapped in lettuce. So I eat the burger, cheeseburger or whatever. I don't get cheese on it, but it's just meat and lettuce. And I don't eat the bread. So now I don't deny myself completely. I just have a little of it. Oh, one last piece of advice. I eat until I'm not hungry. not until I'm full. There's a distinction. Eating till you're full is too much. If you eat, I'm not hungry anymore, that's all you need. So sorry everyone who doesn't care about this. So, but thank you for that, Kung Fu.
Yeah, I would just say the sugar is the big one. Cut the sugar out.
Cut sugar.
Bill S. Preston Esquire. I'm happy kids have found movies they're enjoying. I don't want to encourage nuisance streaming who disrupt and damage things for fun.
Yeah, I mean, look, when I eat popcorn, I get it all over myself and spill it, whatever. So I assume they paid for the popcorn. But yeah, doing damage or being, that unruly maybe is too far, but how is that different maybe than Rocky Horror? I don't know. I think some of those are out of control, but I
would say the majority of those people actually wanted to see the movie.
Yeah, I'd say, look, yeah, I'd say to a point, you're absolutely right, Bill. Thank you.
RJ McReady, this is all a fart in the wind compared to Star Wars 77.
100%. I was there. I saw Star Wars the week it came out. It only opened in 10 theaters in America. Mm-hmm. I saw it at the Americana Theater in the Detroit area, and no one knew what it was. It was a phenomenon. It played for an entire year in a movie theater. Every screening packed. Every screening. And there was no assigned seating that day. You had to wait in lines. And yeah, everything pales. Mm-hmm. People are going to theaters less.
Pilgrim Media for 2. Happy hump day, brothers. Brother.
Well, thank you for that, Pilgrim.
All right. Bill S. Preston Esquire. Don't insult your paying audience, Chris. And the 99% of freeloaders, me included.
It's all good. And Kung Fu Hot Dog became a YouTube member. Thank you for that.
Yes.
Appreciate it.
Mathene for 50 Norwegian krona. You know what they say? Some streamers can't hold their arsenic. Chicago reference. Don't get mad.
No, it's all good. Alan, your new computer doesn't matter. You're still dropping out, and yeah.
Well, that was an expensive lesson to learn.
Yeah, exactly. It's better, but still happens. Not as much though. I don't know. I mean, yeah, it's fine. I don't know. I don't know why people think there's like opinions can't evolve.
Yeah, but it should take longer than 2 weeks to change side.
What are you talking about?
Just go on. Noah Knox Marshall for 20. Hey guys, back from Italy. Shot for 18 days on Vicarian. Our footage is beautiful, sometimes spectacular and or very spooky. Sharing stuff with Film Threat via Ethan Paget, one of our writers. You guys kept me sane during a crazy schedule. Thank you both.
Thank you too, Noah. Appreciate that. That's very generous. All right. Wait, where am I? We got a lot more. Alan, I think it's your turn.
All
so
right.
we're gonna tee this up because the next two news stories it's all Alan.
It's all about tariffs.
Well, Alan, save it. This is your time to shine.
All
Are
right,
you
let's
ready?
do this. Yes. All right, let's talk about tariffs, but more specifically, let's talk about China. Let's see, China. This is a Hollywood.
Wait, Alan. First of all, what do you know about China?
What I know about China? I know nothing about China other than the fact that I eat Chinese food constantly.
Well, I love Chinese food.
I love Chinese food,
All right,
or as
qualified.
my family calls it, food.
Yeah, exactly.
All right,
All right. Look. There's a lot of new experts in this category of tariffs. How will this affect Hollywood? I'm curious what you're going to say. I'm dying to hear this.
All right, so let me pull up the old article here.
Okay.
Okay, so this is from yesterday, and quite frankly, with the new news, it still applies because China's still getting tariffed. But China mulling ban on Hollywood film release in response to Trump tariffs. The U.S. China trade tensions escalate, Hollywood may soon feel the heat. Through the U.S. film industry, though the U.S. film industry has so far avoided direct retaliation from China due to movies being classified as services rather than goods, that immunity may be fading. Influential Chinese figures recently hinted at potential countermeasures to President Trump's sweeping tariffs, including reducing or banning U.S. film imports. With U.S. studios already seeing declining profits in China due to a growing preference for local films, a full market shutdown could hit hard. Despite China's tight control over its film industry and growing push for domestic content, the U.S. still enjoys a trade surplus in entertainment, one that might soon be at risk. Look, let's talk about this. China is threatening to ban U.S. movies in their theaters. So this seemed odd to me. This seemed weird to me. I had a lot of questions. And so I decided, let's do a little experiment here. Let's assume that in 2024, China banned all U.S. films. All right, let's see what impact that would have had on the Hollywood industry. So I'm going to pull up an Excel spreadsheet I did, because unlike other Chinese, I don't like doing math. Look, this is the top 10 highest grossing movies of last year, 2024. The first column there is global. The entire
the global box office. We have inside
box office for Inside Out 2, global box office compared to China's portion of that. So as you can see, in Inside Out 2 of the total global, China, sorry, they disappeared here. China consisted 3% of total box office for Inside Out 2.
So yeah, let me look at this. You've got Inside Out 2 made almost 1.7 billion globally. China was 47 million, not a small amount of money. 3% of the total box office globally. Deadpool and Wolverine, 1.3 billion. China's take, 59 million. That was 4%. For Moana 2, 1 billion. China was 7.6 million, 1% of the box office. Despicable Me 4, almost $1 billion at 971 million. China was 17 million of that, only 2%. Wicked did almost nothing.
Right.
Wicked 747 million. China was 1.1 million.
Yep.
Which accounts for not even 1%. Mufasa, 720 million global, 7.7 million in China, 1%. Dune Part 2, 714 million. China, 19 million, 3% of the total box office. Godzilla versus Kong, well, this should be big. 571 total global box office. China made up 43 million. That's 8%. That's the highest one.
Yeah.
Kung Fu Panda 4, 547 million, 14 million global, 14 million China. That's 3%. And then Sonic the Hedgehog 3, 491 million total global, 1.7 million China, not even 1%. China does not. Why are we bending over for China?
Exactly. Hey, it gets even worse. So
yeah, let's hear it.
Total it all out. China, of the top grossing movies of 2024, China considered 2% of that market share. Not only that, when China takes 75% of the ticket, so the studio gets 25% of it. So if China had banned all U.S. films in 2024, Hollywood would have lost $55 million.
Well, look, all I can say is this. Yeah. So you totaled all of the top 10 from last year, which accounted for 8.8 billion. And China was 220 million of that. That is 2% of the total box office. So here I say this. Who cares what China thinks?
Yeah.
There's such a small percentage. And by the way, Chinese films are in the U.S. tit for tat here.
Right. But
I talked to someone at CinemaCon that was worried, a friend of both ours. I'll tell you later, Alan.
Yeah.
He may not want to, but he said he was worried about if Superman was too American and too patriotic. And to that I say, F you. I want it to be
Who cares?
pro America. America's great. Superman is great. He's a hero that is globally recognized. And if China doesn't like it, who cares? Don't play the movie.
Now,
You
here's the thing.
gotta stop making movies. Now I'm good. Now I'm with you, Alan.
Yeah.
You're doing an Alan's corner. I'm getting angry here.
Yeah,
Set off
I mean,
those
the
comments earlier.
story is a lot bigger than Tariffs. The first of all, Niza 2, highest grossing movie in Chinese history. I looked it up. 1% of the total box office came outside of China, meaning China was 99% of that. China likes Chinese movies.
It's very much
figure.
a Chinese fable.
Right.
It's Chinese.
The other
story.
thing is, okay, so the closest comparison of something successful outside of Avengers Infinity War, China really loved Doctor Strange. Came in at over, I believe it's $117 million. And I bring this up to say that most people don't know this, but China's economy is not doing well. China's kind of like America, where they built too many movie theaters, and because the economy is kind of crashing, where there's high unemployment, deflation, rampant deflation going on, people are not going to the movies. So even if there was no problem with between U.S. and China in terms of economics, people would rather eat than watch a movie, and that's kind of the situation going on in China. Which I will tell you this: the movie that's going to be impacted most by this is going to be Avatar, because China came in with a huge number in terms of boxes. I don't have it on me, and I think it was like half. It was huge. I think that if they're lucky, China will come in with 200 million for Avatar, if they're lucky, which is far cry from what Way of Water got. And I can't remember the statistic. I want to say half a billion, but I know it's a huge number.
Well,
and,
this is significant. In a related story, Bob Iger warns Disney employees of fallout from Trump tariffs. Let's go to the story from our friends at That Park Place. Alan, if you would read this, I'll give the headline. Bob Iger warns Disney employees of fallout from Trump tariffs as company faces new economic headwind. There's a lot of ads on this page, but we'll give That Park Place the ads. Alan, if you would give us
I'll give you the
synopsis
highlights.
give me the highlights.
Yeah, so Bob Iger's concerns. Iger made a surprise appearance at ABC News's editorial meeting to discuss the impact of tariffs. Warned that Americans don't fully understand tariffs and their economic ripple effect. Said Disney Cruise Lines could be hit due to reliance on imported steel from shipbuilding. Potential flaws in Iger's example. So this is That Park Place's counter to that. Analysts point out that the Disney Cruise Line may not be heavily impacted. Ships are built in Europe and registered in the Bahamas. So real areas of risk for Disney. U.S. theme parks are more exposed, relying on imported ride systems and materials, especially from Europe. Construction costs will likely increase due to tariffs. And then the strategic implications are that tariffs might be a convenient excuse for backing out of unpopular and costly expansions. Using tariffs as a cover story lets Disney save money without public fallout. So That Park Place is saying that, and I agree with them, that Iger bringing up tariffs is a way to cover for the financial failings of Disney in the next year. Like when Epic Universe opens.
Yeah, Epic Universe is going to... I have seen videos from Epic Universe. Holy, it looks so amazing. I saw there was a dragon that you could pet from How to Train Your Dragon. It was amazing. They had a young woman that was dressed up like from the film, and she's very attractive and Nordic looking. So that was accurate. And it looks really fun. They are I really think Universal is way more connected to what people are looking for. Disney is going to look kind of old by comparison. So
Let's also remember that China has not one but 2 Disney theme parks in its country.
True.
And look, if things get bad, all China has to do is say, "Well, we're taking it over." And not only have they stolen now all the technology within the park, they're now going to steal the IP, and Chinese Mickey is on his way.
That's crazy. All right, let's go to your comments and questions. People have a lot of comments about this topic.
All right. ML member for 14 months. Alan's big, beautiful spreadsheet. It's the best. It's the best spreadsheet I've ever seen.
That's great.
All right. Andy makes Star Wars for 5. Alan's spreadsheet. Yeah.
Oh, that's great.
By the way, they're not that hard to make.
Yeah. Even I can make one.
Immortal Remus for 199. Glad I got my Bruce Lee 4K collection last year. So Bruce Lee is American. All his movies were made in America, and you can buy them.
It's actually true.
You can buy them all without tariffs. Yeah. So, but I appreciate you buying them nonetheless. Sailor Mercury for 2. I support tariffs if Hollywood ends China pandering.
Yes, we should not, from an entertainment standpoint. This is why I'm so excited about Naked Gun as a comedy. Make movies for America. If other countries like it, great. You know what? I like French films and French comedies. I want them to be French. I don't want France to pander to the US. I want them to make movies that are authentic to French culture. British films. I love British films. British TV shows. Be British. Don't try to don't try to pander or appeal to everyone. Be true to your culture. I love Spanish language films. That ones that they're not trying to be appealing to everyone. Stop doing that, Hollywood. Thank you. And this is the best super chat today.
Immortal Remus for 499. Exactly. Opinions can change. I wasn't a huge fan of Jason Statham films, but now I enjoy them. I'll tell you why you enjoy them, because they're the only action movies in theaters today.
Well, there's some more coming. Immortal Remus.
There you go.
Thank you so much for the most intelligent comment today. You didn't attack. You just said opinions can change. And there you go. Big one that people try to throw in my face is you and I, with the exception of the third, like we watched She-Hulk, and I'm like, this is interesting. I kind of like this because She-Hulk, in the show, in the first few episodes, was an asshole. They created a character who was a complete bitch. And what I thought was she would go through the kind of character arc and a story that would be like Tony Stark, Tony Stark, as portrayed by Robert Downey Jr., is a selfish a-hole, only cares about himself. He's a womanizer, and he evolved through the course of the Marvel movies to become a selfless hero that cared more about his young daughter than himself. He began one way, he ended another. But what She-Hulk did, she started as an asshole and ended up as an asshole. Now, I thought it was groundbreaking that Marvel took a risk and said, we're going to make a female character that is unlikable and an asshole and a bitch. Great. They have not done that with other female characters they introduced. They were the bestest ever, except her. And I thought, well, she's going to go through an arc. She'll become likable. That didn't happen. She was as much of an a-hole and a bitch at the beginning as she was at the end. And it was
a lousy lawyer too.
And she was a lousy lawyer. And by episode 3, I'm like, this is not going well. Everyone else seemed to hate it from the beginning. I like to give things a chance. And there you go. And I don't know if my opinion was wrong, but I had hoped that She-Hulk would have a character arc. She did not. It would be nice to see a human or an asshole female hero, because That's okay. I mean, I think Tony Stark, the evolution he went through, was one of the best. The way he ends, from where he began to where he ended, that's a character arc. They should do that with female heroes one day. I hope to see it. I'm still holding out.
Hey, I want to respond to this real quick. But so far in 2025, we have 5 action stars. We have Tom Cruise, we have Jason Statham, now we have Ben Affleck, Rami Malek, and Daisy Ridley.
I was going to say Michael B. Jordan, but
Michael. Well, that wasn't an
in
action.
Sinners. Okay,
It wasn't exactly an
Thank you.
action movie. It was a horror.
Thank you, Immortal Remus. Hey, attack my opinions, but I personal attacks I don't take kindly to.
Immortal Remus again. The global film industry doesn't need China. That's the whole point. Is when
Bingo.
that headline was about criticizing Trump. It was not about journalists doing the research and asking what is the impact of China pulling out of the China banning all U.S. films. A journalist would have just gone through the simple research I would have gone through and come up with that conclusion. But no, they're more concerned about politics than they are about truth.
Alan, please take a screenshot of that spreadsheet.
Yeah.
And put it on social media.
Yeah, I did yesterday. It's there.
Oh, well, follow Alan at my pal Al. He's over 10,000 now.
Yes.
He's very happy.
Yes, I have. Patrick Lemire. Studios are not making profits in China. After marketing, it looks good on the gross.
Yeah.
Andrew Cranford 10. I canceled Disney Plus because of She-Hulk, and I was optimistic for She-Hulk series as well.
I was optimistic. I want to because I love She-Hulk. I like She-Hulk when She-Hulk was in Fantastic Four. It was great. She replaced the Thing for a while, and I remember loving because she was different. She was not the Thing. She had a different attitude, and you know what? She was sexy.
By the way, remember at CinemaCon? Hey, Chris, are you here to shit on Disney?
Oh, someone who hates our channel, like in IRL, was like, and then you saw what I said.
Yeah.
I said, we can have a real conversation. We're like face to face. This person really does not like my channel or with Alan and I, probably likes you.
Yeah, she
for different reasons. I don't want to out this person and say who it is, but this person hates critical drinker, hates Nerdrotic. And for some reason, but I'll have a real conversation with anyone face to face. Let's do it. I'll have a real conversation with you here.
Okay. Eucalyptus. Alan is a freak in the sheets. Yes,
that's great.
I also excel in the sheets too.
Oh, that's great.
Cosmin Cristani. Tom Cruise already proved.
He's a member. Thank you for being a member.
Yes. Tom Cruise already proved we didn't need China with Top Gun Maverick.
Yeah.
With the success.
Yep.
Dearest, tariffs are the new COVID and writer's strike for Iger.
Yep.
Yeah, he's got something to blame, something to push projects off to blame. Aaron Sharman, Universal is opening the biggest theme park in Europe in the UK, and we will never be there. So
probably not. All right, moving on. Our top story. Superman reshoots are happening. I learned while I was at CinemaCon. Alan and you and I both
get close to that mic.
Oh, yeah. Alan and you and I learned while we were at CinemaCon. We saw the presentation for Superman and were a bit underwhelmed. I'm not talking about the footage. I'm talking about the presentation. They spent a lot of time on questions that were very junket questions that were kind of a waste of time. It felt like 30 minutes of the only thing that impressed me was David Cornsweet. I thought he was a better ambassador for the Superman movie than James Gunn. There was a lot of James Gunn pandering, and a lot of James Gunn is great. I like James Gunn. I have faith. But the way they're promoting this movie, I think is the wrong way. They are, and look, and I'll say this. He's got a very good track record. Okay. The Guardians films and The Suicide Squad are, I mean, you can rank them differently. Fine. I thought that critically successful and box office, with the exception of Suicide Squad, will be dismissed because it was on Max and theaters at the same time, whatever. I think considered successes, but I get the feeling this movie may be in trouble. I reported a few weeks ago a reaction from a test screening where one person was wildly positive. A few days later, I talked to someone who had the opposite opinion, felt that the movie dropped you in the middle of like it felt like the second or third film in a series, but you didn't see the first movie, so you were kind of lost. And I think that's what people are responding to. So one person who loved it, one person who was not so high on it. This cannot just be okay. It has to be a home run, not a double, not good. It has to be a home run or DC is in trouble. There was also confirmed while we were at CinemaCon, Alan, you were there.
Mm-hmm.
David Cornsweet and Rachel Brosnahan talked about a 10-page dialogue scene in the middle of the movie where, as Lois Lane, she interviews Superman, who is dressed as Clark Kent, in their apartment. I don't know if they share an apartment. I don't know if whose apartment it is, an apartment. And she interviews him as Superman and what it means to be Superman. This scene, as described by both people who I talked to who saw the test screening, was interminably long. 10 minutes in the middle of the movie. Now, I'm not above there being some kind of a thoughtful look at what it means to be a hero, but both people confirmed this slowed the movie down. So, these reshoots, just to be clear, Alan, you know about this. All movies have some sort of, they call them pickup shots, but this, I was told they're doing reshoots. What are they fixing? So are they fixing the 10-minute scene? Are they moving some things around? Are they giving a preamble which would set up the world? Because I'll say this, we know that the Fantastic Four is not an origin story, but I know as a reader of the comics, the origin of the Fantastic Four is not one of I mean, they go up in a spaceship, they get exposed to cosmic rays, they get their powers and choose to use them for good. You could lengthen that story, but even like the first 50 issues of the Fantastic Four, they would show in a flashback, they would show the origin on like a one page. Sometimes they would do it in a panel to remind you, because there were new. Fantastic Four was a surprise hit as a comic. It was so different. So they would retell the origin in flashback almost in all of the first 10 issues of FF. I'm sure there are some actually commenters out there that know the real, but it was a lot of issues retold the origin in like a page that would catch up people that were new readers to the Fantastic Four. Are they adding a new opening? Because as we know now, the opening of the movie is where Superman crashes into the North Pole and Krypto comes to help. That's the beginning of the movie. So what do these reshoots entail? Are they pickup shots? And look, movies all do pickup shots. It's the way it is. And I'll tell you this, a quick aside. There's one of the greatest books ever written about film editing I read as a kid. It's called When the Shooting Stops, the Cutting Begins. It is written by the editor of the movie Annie Hall, and he worked with Woody Allen on all of his movies. Did you know that Annie Hall was originally 3 hours long? The first cut of that movie was 3 hours, and it focused on 3 different relationships that Alvy Singer, which is the name of Woody Allen's character in Annie Hall, played. So the 3 relationships with women he had, he dated. So it was 3 hours. Each hour was about that relationship with that woman. Well, the editor of the movie completely changed that film. There's a story where Woody Allen was like writing the monologue that he gives, that it kind of bookends the movie, like in the cab going over to record it. They recut the movie to focus on the one relationship with Annie Hall, and that movie went on to win Best Picture. And they chopped the other ones. Woody Allen's early comedies are famously 90 minutes. I'm saying movies in the cutting can change a lot. They can save a movie. So find that book, When the Shooting Stops, the Cutting Begins. Alan, maybe you could bring that up or look it up for me, or Lori can look it up. But all I'm saying is I'm told reshoots are happening. I'm gonna say that doesn't mean it's a bad thing, but it makes you question. And I think for sure that 10-minute dialogue scene between Clark and Lois, that'll be on the Blu-ray in the deleted scenes. Alan, what do you think about Superman reshoots? And then we'll go to your comments.
Okay, so if I'm not mistaken, Superman comes out in 3 months.
Yeah.
Yeah, to do reshoots and pickups 3 months before it releases in an effects-heavy movie says a lot.
It's completely doable, by the way.
It's completely doable
with today's
but
technology.
you would think that if they could have saved it in editing, you wouldn't need pickup shots.
Right.
They can't save it in editing, and that's why they're doing what they're doing. Quite frankly, Superman is a marketing nightmare. This poster is probably the best marketing piece for Superman at the moment. Look, let's do a comparison. Force Awakens. They put out one trailer, and everyone freaked out and was excited to see a Force Awakens. And we know how that came out, how that turned out. The purpose of a trailer is to get you excited about a movie. The purpose of marketing and public relations is about getting you excited about a movie. And we are not excited. I am not excited about this movie. I'm hopeful. I'm anticipating it, this film, but I'm not excited about this film. I'm not anticipating that this is going to be a great film that's going to hit a home run. And quite frankly, a lot of it has to do with the marketing, because the marketing is not focused on selling this movie to me. This marketing just feels like that James Gunn he needs to respond to the internet and to all this internet criticism, when he should just make the movie the best movie he can, let it speak for itself, and then promote that. The thing I told you after seeing the crypto scene, which is the only thing we saw new from Superman, was I still don't know if this movie is going to be good or not, because that whole sequence features Superman not being Superman, Superman in a prone position.
Right.
I at least want 10 seconds of Superman doing something Superman would do, to say, yes, he gets it. And he didn't do it here. Again, you got to build momentum. This movie comes out in July. For the next 3 months, you need to build momentum to get people excited and get them in the seats to watch your movie. And he's doing everything but that. And this could be the greatest movie ever. Just as Force Awakens, with its great teaser trailer, started the worst franchise ever.
Right.
We just don't know. Another movie, A Better Man. The marketing for A Better Man was awful. It showed the wrong parts of it. But deep down, that movie is an amazing movie with incredible story behind it, and all these facts. Is Superman gonna become a better man, in terms of the fact that no one is excited about this movie when we need to, when it should be exciting just by the name Superman alone.
Yeah. Well, I'll end with this, and we'll go to your comments. My point in bringing up Ralph Rosenblum and that book about editing is, you can dramatically change the quality of a movie. And it's Ralph Rosenblum and Robert Caren, a film editor's story. When the shooting stops, the cutting begins. They dramatically changed the movie Annie Hall from a 3-hour movie about 3 separate relationships, and they changed it incredibly dramatically, even recording like voiceover with Alvy Singer for the film, and they kind of made the movie in the cutting and changed it dramatically. It went on to win Best Picture and beat out Star Wars. And then Woody Allen didn't show up for the Oscars. But all I'm saying is you can dramatically improve the quality of a movie by looking at it differently, making big changes, and swing for the fences. It can happen. So again, I'm hopeful, cautiously optimistic, but see signs that there may be trouble.
Yeah.
Let's go to comments here.
Should point out that Annie Hall beat Star Wars.
I did say that. Were you not
but you
listening?
said it won Best Picture, but you didn't specifically say it beat Star Wars.
No, beat Star Wars.
Yeah, okay. Good, D. Goodhart. Gunn has a good track record, and I do like some of his films, but I have my doubts that he do anything that feels sincere, and that's what Superman needs.
Yeah, we don't need an irreverent Superman. Superman is very earnest to the point.
I don't think we're going to get that.
To the point of being a Boy Scout.
Yeah, I think that's clear. I think we have that. Tom Siebert. Hey, Tom. Maybe it should open with a comic book cover that opens to the film, maybe Superman issue 3. That would explain getting dropped in the middle of the story, plus picking up as if after a cliffhanger.
That's a really good idea. I like that. Like, tell us the story of Superman in comic images and then take us to where he's now. Like, that's, you can do that in 3 months.
But instead, we'll get a flashback. Patrick Lemire, Gunn is good, but he's not a Tarantino level director that gets a free pass.
Fair point. I like
that.
Science
69, member for 17 months. I'm okay being further along in the Superman story. I'm tired of rehashing origin stories of characters that are widely known, if that's the problem.
I'm with you. I'm okay with that decision. That's fine to me.
Beosaurus Rex, member for 31 months. Hey, it's a bird, it's a plane, it's Schadenfreude. Dustin Darby Allen, I think people are excited, at least the people I talk to. I think you guys are too stuck in your YouTube bubble compared to general audiences. Let me the thing we're excited about is just the name Superman and that this is a Superman movie. But the things they're showing us aren't getting us excited and lessening that.
Well, I'll say this, Dustin. I agree with you. Sometimes there is a bubble. I think that normies could be into it. So thanks for that. Appreciate that.
Like Minecraft.
Yeah, like Minecraft.
Yeah. Bill S. Preston Esquire. Is Superman going to become a better man? No, it's Superman. And once it gets close to release, everyone will be talking about it and want to know if it's good.
We shall see.
All right. R.J. McReady. The beginning of the film being Superman crashing on Earth and damaged is brilliant. It calls into question the state of things. It makes you ask, who did this? It's fresh. I do like the comic book idea of doing that.
I like that.
Dearest, the discussion between Lois and Clark can work if the scene is highlighting real fan discussions on why Superman should only be used for rescue and not enforcing U.S. policy or morality.
And to be fair, the first Superman movie, 1978, had a scene where Lois and Clark have a date, an interview that is kind of a date.
Yeah, but it's kind of flirty at the same time.
Very flirty. Like if he's going for that, it could work. So
Didn't Man of Steel had a discussion with Lois and Superman in a jail cell?
Also had that discussion.
All right. The Garth Knight returns. But Chris, how would that 10-minute scene compare to interview scene with Supes and Lois in Superman 78, Chris?
Oh, yeah. Well, I just brought it up. I'll just say that both people I spoke to who saw the test screening said that scene slows the movie down. Both people, including the guy who liked it, did not like the scene. You said, but when you see a test screening, you assume that they'll fix things.
Yeah.
So
I think that's the point of test screening. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Big news today. Big news. Robert Pattinson, fresh off the heels of Mickey 17 and him being in being the Batman, which I generally liked the Batman, or at least I liked the first 2/3 of the movie. That second third act was unnecessary. Looks like Robert Pattinson will be in Dune Part 3. From Deadline, Dune 3 legendary circling Robert Pattinson for new role in upcoming installment, The Dish, from Justin Kroll. Alan, if you would give me the crux of the story.
Yes, as Denis Villeneuve finalizes the script for the next Dune installment, buzz is building around a potential new addition to the star-studded cast in Robert Pattinson. While no official offer has been made, sources say there's strong interest in casting Pattinson as the villain Scytale.
Yes, it's the villain of Dune Messiah, or the antagonist.
Okay.
I won't say villain.
Yeah, Villeneuve is set to return as director with a filming scheduled for the summer. The Dune franchise, based on Frank Herbert's iconic sci-fi movies, has already delivered 2 critically acclaimed Oscar-winning films and a hit HBO prequel series. Pattinson, currently juggling several high-profile projects, could be the latest A-lister to join returning stars Timothée Chalamet, Zendaya, and Florence Pugh in this expanding cinematic universe.
I like this idea a lot. I think the casting, or I would not have thought Pattinson. I've read Dune Messiah. It's kind of it's a short. It's like a novella. It is like an epilogue to Dune. What happened to Paul Atreides after the events of Dune? It's set like 12 years, over a decade later. So Paul Atreides is in his 30s. Alia, his sister, is actually she's a young woman. She's turning into a young woman, and they're everybody wants to take out the emperor, who is Paul. So this could be very good. I have faith in Denis. I think he will deviate from the book a lot. There's not a lot of action in Dune Messiah. It's a lot of palace intrigue. Let's just say that palace intrigue, espionage, behind the scenes machinations, very Machiavellian, as it were. So, but I'm told it will have action. Maybe that's in flashbacks. Who knows? But there are very few action moments in Dune Messiah, having read it a couple times. If he's able to pull that off and stick the landing, this will be epic. He has to fix Chani. You gotta fix the character of Chani. You know, that's not how the Dune story plays out, because she is integral to these events, including their children, which, look, the third book is Children of Dune. So there you go. The fourth one is God Emperor of Dune. That's kind of, to me, those 4 books encapsulate the story for me. Beyond that, it gets weird. I'm not as interested. So that's kind of the Atreides saga played out. It's also good. It was reported that Duncan Idaho returns.
But he died. What's going on?
Well, what's going on is he is brought back. So Jason Momoa is in it. He's brought back as what is described in the book as a Gola, spelled Ghola, Gola, which is a copy of a person, effectively a clone. So that sort of carries through into other parts of the story. I won't say how much. These are spoilers from a book that's decades old, so don't be pissed off at me. But Jason Momoa returns as Duncan Idaho.
Yeah, in a pink fighting uniform.
Well, who knows? I hope they age up Timothy. I hope they bulk him up too as a hardened warrior. So I hope they really age up all the characters. I'm enthusiastic. This sounds like it could be amazing. And after this, I'm told Denis is kind of done after he makes the third film, but they are eyeing other directors for the next two books, which I think could be amazing. They do continue the story in the Sci-Fi Channel series, Children of Dune. You can see that.
Yeah, that's
So-
a good series.
Yeah. So I'm excited. You know where I am? I'm cautiously optimistic. Should I make it into a T-shirt?
Well,
I'm
look,
gonna
in
go, by
2
the
weeks,
way, I'm gonna go,
in 2 weeks, you're going to flip flop on this. And
this is the worst casting ever. Oh my God. All right. In a related story here, I'm going to show you this. Hans Zimmer picks his favorite film scores. This is a video from X and from the account Physical Media Forever on X. I have not seen this video, but I love Hans Zimmer. There is an interview with him on our members only videos. He's being interviewed about that recent documentary. Let's look at this 1 minute video.
he's very Benjamin Franklin right here.
I like this look. I love Benjamin Franklin. He knew how to party.
Lion King versus Pirates of the Caribbean.
Lion King.
Lion King,
Or Gladiator.
Lion King is written for my daughter. I didn't really want to do the movie. I didn't really want to do animation. And then the movie really surprised me because it's about the father dying. And my father died when I was 6 years old. And I never dealt with it. And suddenly I had to go and deal with it.
Lion King versus Inception.
Inception.
Inception versus Interstellar.
Interstellar.
Interstellar versus Dune.
Not done with Dune yet.
Interstellar versus Thelma and Louise.
Interstellar. It's one of the few movies where I'm going, actually, I think I did okay.
Interstellar versus Sherlock Holmes.
I think we're going to choose Sherlock. There was just something
What?
about it that was really great.
Sherlock versus Kung Fu Panda.
Sherlock,
finally, versus The Dark Knight.
Dark Knight.
I think that's a good winner.
That's great. That's great. I had not seen that. I love that choice. Although Sherlock Holmes, what's that doing in there? That's not. Hum the theme to Sherlock Holmes right now.
Sherlock Holmes, do. Sherlock Holmes, do.
Wait. Go ahead, Alan.
Sherlock Holmes, do. Sherlock Holmes, do.
Keep going.
That's it. What are you talking Man
to woman, woman to man, penis to vagina.
Penis to vagina?
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 Well, there you go.
I didn't notice
Let's
the girl in the background there. Okay.
let's
Look,
go.
I'll always
What?
say the best Disney soundtrack is Lion King.
I agree. Best Disney.
Right.
And he describes it in this interview on the our members only videos as a requiem for his father.
Mhm.
And I don't know. I just Hans Zimmer, man, when you see how deeply he thinks about, his scores, and then also like you can go to his website, he'll sell deluxe versions of his scores. I'm surprised Man of Steel was not in there. So,
Well, the movie sucked, but yeah.
no, it's aged well.
Okay.
Let's go to your chat comments and questions here.
All right, Mr. E for $2 New Zealand. It's not Superman, it's Super Jake.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There you go.
T Black for 2. Are the good test screenings for Thunderbolts true?
I have heard positive about Thunderbolts. I think the thing is that the expectations for that movie are very low. So
I think when you say
people are-
positive, I think
Yeah.
when you say positive, you're really meaning it's not as bad as you think.
I mean, I don't want to put it that way necessarily, but yeah, I've just heard. Yeah, it's like who asked for that movie?
Well, you have all these great side characters that you needed, Taskmaster and Ghost. You need a movie for them.
Yeah.
A proper send-off. Matthian for 20 Norwegian krona. What about The Golden Path, Chris? What about it, Chris?
Well, you'd have to get into the third and fourth book. And there's some really great comments in here.
But Hans Zimmer does do a great soundtrack.
I feel like the movies are a cliff notes of the book. The book exists separate from the movies. I'm fine with it. I think Denis Villeneuve brought to life like the feeling of Dune and the scale, and I think the music is great, but the books are better than the movie. I'm sorry.
All right. Steve Z for 5. Alejandro Gonzalez Inarritu would be a good pick to direct the next Dune.
Oh, hell yeah.
And do it in
Like
one
someone
shot.
that's got a good visual sense.
Yeah. Albert Not a Retro, 2 Canadian. Gunn got lucky with Guardians. Superman will flop.
It is possible.
Jury's out. Pilgrim Media for 2. What's your craziest Rocky Horror story?
Oh my God. I just remember my high school girlfriend wearing Converse shoes and fishnets. And by the way, he watches this show. He'll pop in. And going with her, seeing that movie, and throwing
all riled
rice
up.
and toast, and it was a blast. I mean, that was really my high school girlfriend and I would go see that movie on weekends, and we'd drink beer in the parking lot.
All right. Lord Crunk. Scytale needs 4 actors, morphs into 4 different people.
Well, yeah, but he'll be the main visage, so to speak, the main kind of face. But you're right.
So, Solomon Thornton, Jason Momoa will be hate, a Gola that has no memory.
But then there's, well, I don't want to get into spoilers. Yeah.
Okay, and Corky's chilling. I'm psyched for Pattinson to be in Dune. He's a phenomenal actor.
He is, look, whatever you think of the movies he's been in post Twilight, he's really a good actor.
Solomon Thornton also says Robert Pattinson is going to play Scytale, the face dancer of the Bene Teluchi, mastermind of the conspiracy against Paul Atreides.
Yes, he's the antagonist.
Telexu.
But really good antagonists don't think they're the villain, because what they're doing is right from their point of view.
Yes, just like Dr. Evil. Razorbird, Dune Messiah, and Children of Doom should be combined into one movie.
Well, I think that Dune Messiah, the version that Denis is making, will overlap with some of the events of Children of Dune. It'll set up a 4th movie that he will not direct. That's pure speculation on my part. Pure speculation. We've got a couple more news stories, but we're going to do those later because we have a special guest joining us today. And that is the director of Call of the Void, writer-director, James B. Cox is waiting in the wings in our digital green room. Let's talk to him about Call of the Void. Hey, James, thanks for joining us today. Appreciate you. What's going on? How are you, James?
Can you hear us?
Not sure if I could hear you right now.
You can't hear us?
Let's see.
All right. Well, select your AirPods or speakers. While you're doing that, let's do this. I'm going to play the trailer for the movie. And then we will talk about it on the back end. Maybe you can leave and come back. Can you hear us now?
You able to hear us at all?
Can you hear us? All right. Okay.
All right.
Can you hear us? Could you hear us before you came in?
I don't. It sounds like no.
I think. Hold on. Sorry.
All right.
Okay.
Can you hear us now?
Can you hear us now?
Yep.
Okay. It's all good. Okay. I was saying, how are you doing? Better now, I think.
Yeah.
Okay. Good.
No, much better.
Awesome. Cool. Hey, tell us about Call of the Void.
Yes. So, Call of the Void is my newest feature film. It's a horror film that we shot actually right out here in Big Bear. Coincidentally, I'm out here for for spring break with my kids. So just a fun coincidence. But it's a story of Murray. She's a woman in her 30s who just lost her brother, is alienated from her parents, and then lost her job. And she goes to the woods basically to seek, some sort of restart, eat, pray, love, some sort of, you know, restart to her life. And she finds something else, as you would imagine in a horror film. But yeah, it's my take on kind of a weird fiction sort of story, like a Lovecraft or that sort of thing.
Let's actually look at the trailer here for the film. I have it queued up, which comes out. Is it come out this week from Gravitas Ventures?
That would be April 15th on
April
Tuesday.
15th. All
Yeah.
right, so tax day.
Yeah,
After your
exactly.
taxes, check out this movie here. Let's look at the trailer together.
Hi, my name is Lucy. I just wanted to apologize for all the noise last night. I actually came up here to have some time to myself. Well, actually, we're going to the mountain. If you want to come, you're totally welcome.
We're going to take the trail up this way to a flat area called Fiddler's Green. Once we're up there, I'm going to take each of you to your solo spot. As long as you don't wander off, you should be fine.
But yesterday, on that hike, something happened.
Daryl, you gotta watch where you step, man.
It's a damn good trailer.
Oh, thank you.
Gotta get that trailer music really sells it. Obviously sound design is a big part of horror and thrillers. What went into that specifically? That trailer music was phenomenal.
Well, I did cut the trailer, and I used, I'm an editor by trade, so I used a lot of just resources from my personal library. But yeah, speaking of the film itself, I really have to tip my hat to the people at Smart Post Sound, because going into this film, it is a movie about sound. Specifically, it's dealing with a phenomena, a hum that's taking place out in the woods, and because of that, it would be really bad if the sound didn't live up to kind of the expectations of of being kind of the creature of the feature. So now we subvert that a little bit, and if you go see the movie, you'll understand what I mean. But the important thing is like, okay, it's got to have the atmosphere of Alien. It's got to have the real great horror film sound, sound design that isn't necessarily manipulating you and leading you along the way, but is always present, always ratcheting, and always giving you a sense that you're there. You can feel the stickiness. You can feel the the sense of cold, and all those things that are very very much part of the threatening nature of the wild. But yeah, so yeah, the working with that team, and specifically the sequences that take place where the characters go on a solo hike, which is central kind of to the kind of kickoff of the plot, is that they each separate themselves along a path. And this is something I've done myself multiple times, but it's meant to be kind of like an experience of like, oh, like I'm I'm feeling a sense of attachment to nature, of of a sense of smallness, a sense of humility, a sense of a lot of things that you can only experience when you kind of separate yourself from others. The problem is of course, if you find yourself in a horror film, that is not a good place to be. And those experiences where the characters start to hear the things around them is really where the horror begins. And that was, that was one of those moments. And when you look at it on the page and you're just like, okay, this is the way, and that's really important to me.
Well, I notice you're in a cabin right now, so
Yeah,
watch yourself.
I know.
We got over 2,000 people watching live, and they have a lot of questions for you.
Awesome.
So let's get some questions here. Alan, if you would.
Yeah, ADLs24. Having to wear so many hats on this project, writer, producer, director, and editor, which one are you most passionate about, and which one gave you the most frustration on this project?
That's a great question, because, and it's a question I think you could ask any like truly independent filmmaker, because wearing of different hats is it's part of the gig. There's never a perfect situation where you only get to do one job. Now, as a writer, I've always, loved being a director, because it's given me the ability to see the follow through, see the completion. And I've always cherished that. I mentioned it before, I'm an editor by trade. Editing informs everything I do, because not knowing where these puzzle pieces have to be would mean that I may do a lot of extra work that wouldn't end up making it into the film. I've always felt that was important, that the going into, especially as an independent filmmaker with limited resources, you have to go know where you're actually putting all these shots that you're working hours sometimes to set up. So yeah, I find all these things essential, and producing is is just kind of the end all be all of making sure that things show up on time and things get done. And when they don't, trouble abounds, my friend. And that's, so yeah, I think every job is essential, and I was fortunate to work with so many amazing people on this film. But yeah, I think the choice to edit it was essential to my writing and directing, and producing is just something that I have learned to do along the way.
Some comments too. Technique says, I'm digging the cabin vibe. Jimmy Francis says, cool. We share the same distribution company. All the best
Nice.
to your film. And Solomon Thornton says, greetings, Sir James. What was your approach for writing this film?
That's a great question, because I would have to also speak to some of the reading I was doing at the time. So the origin of this film goes back to when I was setting up another project called Hurricane Party, and things were just not coming together, unfortunately. The scope was too big in some ways, and it just was a real challenge to see that thing come together. But we were getting close, dangerously close, one might say, to getting into production. And I remember talking to Clayton Warbuck is the composer on this and my previous feature, Control Delete, also known as Hacked. That we were talking about, like, gosh, I would love to tell you that we're going tomorrow, but we're not going tomorrow because X, Y, and Z is happening. I have this other thing. I would just love to just escape to the woods and go shoot. And lo and behold, it's when you're it's the John Lennon lyric, life is what happens when you're making other plans. And Call of the Void is what happened when I was trying to plan a different movie. And I came together, and I was like, okay, I have a location because I'm standing in it right now. I have, an idea because, I've been reading H.P. Lovecraft, loved Color Out of Space, love Richard Stanley's Color Out of Space. I recommend anybody else check that out, with Nicolas Cage. It is a trip.
I love that. I've seen that movie. That is amazing. That film is awesome.
Yeah. No, and he's an excellent man too. I've had the pleasure of meeting him in Providence. And so that story, though, is about a color that just demolishes this poor family in the woods. A color, not literally. So what that brought out of me was like, well, what's an element that could, like that you could, turn into a movie? That's a really interesting idea from the get-go. And sound is an essential tool of all filmmakers. And you hear about these hums and these unexplainable phenomena. And it was one of those moments of electrons just kind of fusing together, and you're like, oh, let's do this. So I started writing it before 2020, but I had a lot more time to write during 2020. And then, eventually we got the go ahead to go shoot, and the rest is Call of the Void.
Here we go. The nerd far away says, I like a preview that makes me want to know more. And Aid Ellis 24 says, how did Gravitas Ventures, one of the great supporters of indie cinema, get involved in the project? Was the film completed before they got involved, or did they support the production throughout?
So Gravitas Ventures and I go back to when we had the film I talked about before, Control Delete, which actually, Chris, I think you interviewed me for way back when at Geek Fest at Comic Palooza.
Oh my God,
that
might have been years ago.
I know
Oh,
it was
man.
years
I
ago.
don't remember. Was it me? I don't know.
Well, I shared a stage with you nonetheless, but the
we were on a panel together. That was it.
Yeah,
Was it a panel?
exactly.
Okay, that's
Yeah.
it. Now, yeah, sure.
Yeah. So, basically, we've been in talks. They passed on that film, which is fine. But stayed in contact, and the acquisitions people over there were always, very much saying like, "Hey, we'd like to see what you do next." And I took them at their word and just kept in contact. And when it came time to this film was finished, ultimately, see if they would be interested in releasing it, and they were. And it, I'm very grateful for working with the actual team to release this film and actually have marketing people and all that stuff that as an indie filmmaker you do not expect. You do not expect to have an actual phone number and a human on the other end of it to talk to when you're wanting to make sure that your film is a success. So I'm very grateful to them, and working with them has been wonderful.
And Christopher Moonlight Productions, what Lovecraft stories influenced you the most? Gives me a Yellow Brick Road vibe, which I like. Also makes me think of Color Out of Space, the book, not the movie. So Chris has noticed that. That's cool.
Well, I'm so glad he mentioned Yellow Brick Road, because that was one of those movies I wish people talked more about. It's just such a weird and interesting movie. And I see the comparison for sure. People should check that one out. But yeah, I mean, in terms of H.P. Lovecraft stories, I mean, I personally, I have a script for the festival that I'd love to see get made, because it's classic Lovecraft, and it's very much dealing with a person coming home and dealing with a family that they've become separated from, and they discover, of course, their family were witches. So it's very, I mean, there's just so many cool directions it goes in, and it has what I think is one of Lovecraft's most interesting monsters, like real monsters that would be really cool to see executed with some really cool practical and visual effects. It's really a great story, and it's kind of an under thought about story. It's actually a Christmas story, which I love even more. Christmas horror is one of my favorite subgenres, and I'm surprised this story hasn't been tapped more often for it.
I love that subgenre as well.
Yeah.
Love that.
Yeah.
8 Ellis 24 again says, as a fellow member of the Ellis clan, what made Richard Ellis the right pick for what looks like one of the more antagonistic roles in the film?
Well, first of all, I was introduced to Richard through our casting director, Bass Casting, who I've been fortunate to work with them twice. And what they always have brought to the table is they brought to me not just excellent actors, but also great coworkers. And one of the things I loved about working with Richard is that he always drilled down to the question that needed to be answered to get this scene done. And when it comes to that character, it wasn't a challenge interpersonally by any means, but it was a challenge because that character is a few different layers deep before the story even begins. And that may make more sense once you see the film, but it's a really cool thing to kind of peel back and say, like, okay, this is where this is where your character is right now. This is where your character is going to be. This is where your character was beforehand. And all those things are such vital questions, like plot specific questions, that having somebody as detail oriented and as really willing to do the work and dig into it, I couldn't have pulled it off without Richard's help. I mean, he's just an excellent guy, and he was really devoted to pulling it off, and he did. I mean, it's a really cool performance, and it's a performance that, you know, it on the surface doesn't seem that complicated until you start to unwind what's actually going on, and that to me, I mean, that's a fun character, and I think he and I both enjoyed the process of making Sterling, you know, real. So that was cool.
And one final question. The movie is out April 15th here in the States. Stevie Dan 1969 says, will the movie be shown in the UK?
It will eventually. And I say that because we are currently in talks for international distribution in general. It's not, that is not under Gravitas's umbrella. So that's going to be, you know, there's going to be local distributors that are handling those. I don't know at this moment when, but I do know that it will be released in the UK, and I'm looking forward to sharing that because I've got a lot of friends across the pond who have been asking the very same question, and I hope it's theatrical. That'd be great. The world needs more of that, so that'd be awesome.
I would agree. James, thank you so much for joining us here on the show. Congrats again, and come back when you've got another movie.
Thank you, Chris, and thank you, Alan. I really appreciate both of you, and let me share Call of the Void with the world.
Cool. And I'll see you on a panel, I'm sure, at like I don't know, LA Comic-Con or wherever we were. I think it was LA Comic-Con.
Yeah. Stan Lee's was at the time, I believe it was. But yeah,
Kamikaze, love it.
Yeah,
right. James,
pour
take
one out for
care. Stay safe in the woods.
I'll
Stay
try.
safe. Okay, take care. Bye.
Have a good one.
Thanks. Well, that was fun. There's a few more news stories I really want to get to.
I do have a out at 3, but yeah, up until then.
Okay, but we got some time. Real quick, Eric K for 2. The Batman sucked, unwatchable. I would disagree. That first third is amazing. With the score.
Third though.
Yeah, but the final third sucked. The middle needed work, but I know exactly the scene where the movie went wrong. That's Catwoman on the roof talking, having a conversation. A couple more news stories. We'll do maybe one more if we got time here, but this is something that is interesting. No Fakes Act reintroduced in Congress. You know, we've seen look, deep fakes is a thing. People have done deep fakes of Alan and I. I have a deep fake. I'll show you right here. I'm going to show you right here a deep fake, but there are deep fakes that could fool people and lead to some shenanigans. Here's one right here.
Why are you so racist? You have Polly and Dante on the bottom. Really, really, Chris, watch Party So White.
So, that's of course AOC. It's a deep fake of AOC. But there are deep fakes of Alan and I for comedic purposes. I don't mind those for comedic. They're obvious fakes. So, Alan, what do you have for this?
Yes.
And is there a link? I'll go
There's
to
a
it.
link. It's in the doc there, but
Okay, go ahead, Alan.
yeah, they keep switching these things.
Okay,
All right.
let me bring up the story
All
from
right,
Variety here.
Okay, you
Do
want
you
to do
have
it?
it?
I do. I'm gonna have to read off of this.
Okay,
So,
go ahead and read. You've got
Okay.
the story up on your own computer, but go ahead. No
Okay,
fakes.
the No Fakes Act reintroduced in Congress with support from Google, RIAA, more. The recording industry's Grammys on the Hill Advocacy Day culminated on Wednesday with a press conference on Capitol Hill with Senators Chris Coons, Marsha Blackburn, and Reps Madeline Dean and Maria Salazar to announce the reintroduction of the No Fakes Act, standing for Nurture Originals, Foster Art, and Keep Entertainment Safe.
The bipartisan bicameral bill is intended to advance creators' rights to protect their voice and likeness from unauthorized creation and use of digital replicas. Also at the press conference were stakeholders for the Human Artistry Campaign, where the Academy is a founding member, along with Google, MPA, RIAA, SAG, AFTRA, and YouTube. And I should mention Mr. Beast is a supporter of this bill.
I think this is targeting mostly politicians.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure how much this will affect the. I mean, people do deep fakes of you and I on X all the time. I find them funny. I think they're funny. I'll find a few right now. But what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it sounds good, but knowing politicians, it just smells fishy to me.
Well, yeah, I'll
Go
just
ahead.
say with politicians, I mean, rarely when it comes to tech issues are they like well informed on topics. I think they're pretty bad when it comes to that.
Well, you know what it is once you create a law outlawing something, let's just say this is a ban on AI AI. There's always loopholes, and you wind up having to revisit this 2 years down the road because people have exploited our memers have exploited those loopholes. It's it's kind of the Pandora's box, the cat out of the bag. As much as you try to legislate it back in the bag and closing Pandora's box, it just reopens again. And and just like Congress and the media, there's no details here. I don't know exactly what this means. I don't know how they're planning to enforce this.
Here's the thing. If I do a cartoon drawing of a political figure and it's a cartoon in a political cartoon, is that considered, is that fall in that category? It's a likeness. And I'll show you here. Look, I didn't even search that hard, but courtesy on X, courtesy of MK Solid 82. Appreciate you, MK Solid. This may or may not be a deep fake of you and I. Can you believe it? No. Okay. Look. Larry Flint, by the way, nearly gave up his life. He did a parody of an ad with Jerry Falwell talking about relations with his mother. That went all the way to the Supreme Court. There's a movie about that called The People versus Larry Flint. And that was about a fake ad, a satirical ad that was in Hustler magazine. So I think this is a bad idea. And how do I know it's a bad idea? Do you know who's behind this? One of the people endorsing it is Gavin Newsom. So that's how I know it's bad.
Yeah, it's because of that Kamala Harris AI thing. Of course
Which was awesome. Even I knew it was AI, but I thought it was that's our right to fairly comment using satire. Alan, your thoughts, and we'll go to chat.
Yeah, I'll read. This is a somewhat of an explanation, but it says the No Fakes Act would establish the U.S.'s first ever federal right of publicity and provide a nationwide standard to ensure creators' likenesses are not used without their consent. The bill would give music makers control over their own digital personas and hold individuals, companies, and platforms accountable for unauthorized use of a creator's voice or likeness. I get, based on the words itself, it sounds okay. It's like, yeah, people shouldn't be making likenesses of you, putting faces of me on Chow Yun Fat. But again, I don't know. It just sounds fishy to me. That it feels like a trap with no teeth. Let's put it that way.
Well, I'm not in favor of it. I think it falls under satire.
Mm-hmm.
You wanna maybe add some rules that there's maybe a little bug or a logo, fine. But yeah, I am against this. So it's not a good use of Congress's time either. Not like they know what they're doing.
Yeah.
But let's go to comments here.
Yeah, less AI, more tariffs. Dearest says deepfakes are part of satire and social commentary. Banning them is the First Amendment violation. To get
Bingo.
support, it has to be
Bingo.
very narrow, the same as a libel or defamation claim.
Yep.
I mean, I will say when I watch YouTube, since I have ads on, I see more and more, celebrities, quote unquote, endorsing products. Maybe that's what they're going after, but this doesn't feel like that's what they're going after. Bill S. Preston Esquire, Congress is agreeing on something. We should oppose that 110%.
Agree.
Bill W. Impossible to prevent the fakes since the models are already shared and copied.
Yep.
Christopher Moonlight Productions. If it has Google support, then it's another move to use Congress to monopolize the AI market. Reminds me of what Larry Flint had to fight against with his political spoofs in Penthouse.
Well, it was Hustler magazine, not to be that actually
Bob
guy.
Guccione.
But, I only know that because I worked for him for a number of years when I sold Film Threat magazine to Larry Flint in the early 90s and worked for him for like 5-6 years.
Yeah.
So, yeah, but whatever. Chris, we get the point. I'm not in favor of it. Congress rarely has anything smart to say when it comes to issues of tech. So I say let the people sort it out. We don't need you over-regulating another thing. So there you go. That's it for us today. Alan has to leave, so we're going to end it on that. I want to say thanks to Armad, Lord Thoth, MK Solid. Thanks to Atomic Lori, Glenn Nuccio, my friend Alan. We may be going to Vegas next week.
Maybe.
I'm going to decide next week. I have a hotel on reserve, but logistically, that's going to be tough to go there, do the show. Might want to pass on this trip. Maybe the chat will we'll ask on Friday if we should go to Vegas. Let's do that. Save that question for Friday, a poll question. And that's it. We're back on Friday with lots of reviews. I think we've seen it's another one of those 7 movies. The Amateur, Drop, Warfare, seen it tonight. Sacramento, Hell of a Summer, The Friend.
King of Kings.
King of Kings. Is that on the list?
It's not, but it will be.
King of Kings. I'm adding it.
All right. I could talk about Sinners, but if you want to see it
Sinners,
first. All right.
Non-spoiler. Maybe we'll get into that if we have time. But plus an interview with Secret Mall apartment director Jeremy Workman.
Yes.
Alan's been talking about that movie for a long time.
Yeah,
so
is that South by last year?
Nice. So that's it for us. Thank you to everyone who sent in a super chat. Thank you for your comments, even the ones that disagree with me. It's totally fine. I love it. I love a good impassioned film debate. Right, Alan?
Yes. But quite frankly, you need to hold one position and not keep flip-flopping. That's all.
If I only did that, if I only didn't flip-flop and my opinion didn't evolve or change over time or whatever, I mean, it's how it is. So there you go. All right. We'll see you on Friday. Alan?
Let's get out of here.